Thanks, listeners, for joining us for today's Elko Live. We're just getting settled in and starting off today's program. As we do on Tuesday, we're featuring an update from the city of Elko. And today's guest, as we're in between meetings, we have our city planner, Cathy Laughlin, joining us. And Cathy, we were just talking about where is the summer gone? A lot of great projects are happening here in the city, but thanks for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having us. We always enjoy coming to be on your show.
Well, thank you, Cathy, very much. We appreciate the work that you're doing with the city. And Ralph Negron is our development manager. And Ralph is also holding up his end with several different projects and updates. And so we were just literally starting our list, and here we are. So we'll kind of make it up as we go.
For sure, for sure.
So let's talk about that big downtown project. I know people are so excited. You started with probably the worst section first at the RDA sidewalk project.
We did, and that was really up to the contractor. We allowed them to decide where they wanted to start. And that really was the worst sidewalk. It was very dangerous, and it needed to be replaced for many, many years now. So we're excited that they did start on that street, and they are making progress. Of course, anything in our downtown, we're going to find some unknowns. And we've discovered a few on that block. But we also had a lot of infrastructure work. And people don't realize that it wasn't just curb, gutter, and sidewalk. There were some water lines. There's a lot of storm drain that went all the way down to Idaho Street. That was all being replaced. And so anytime that we are working in the downtown where there's a lot of utilities, a lot of storm drain infrastructure, we're going to find different things. And it is going to cause a few delays. Granted, we are still on schedule for the first week in October schedule to be completed. We're hoping that Railroad Street will be finished here soon and be able to get those trees at least planted and established with some water before we have to shut all the water system off. And then they're going to be starting on Commercial Street. So we do try to keep all of the business owners informed. Ralph does send out a weekly email to all the business owners, letting them know what the schedule is for that week, what the schedule is for the next week. So everybody on Railroad was very much aware we were going to pour concrete starting yesterday, and there was some little bit of disturbance to their business, but we're trying to keep that to the very minimal.
Absolutely. And most people that I've talked to have said by this time next year, this is just going to be a memory. It's just going to be a beautiful paved surface that's been a long time coming.
It really is. And not just paved, but we're also adding a lot of landscaping, and we're adding electrical to those tree wells so that we'll have some ambient lighting in the trees, and just, some flowers on the block ends. And we're doing the bulb outs for safety purposes. And it's just going to be a beautiful final product. I can guarantee that. It's if you look at the product of the block ends that we did 5 years ago, it takes years to build up enough funds to do the next project in the redevelopment, but it's well worth it. Those block ends, the trees are starting to mature, the grass looks good. People, I see people sitting there, walking their dog there. So these are good things, and it just all takes time, and it takes money, and that's progress.
I hosted some visitors recently, and we ate downtown. We walked everywhere, and they had to, meaning wanted to, and said, "You're coming with us." They wanted a selfie in front of the tower there, that big Elko. So it's true. Maybe while locals we think, "Oh, I see that all the time," but oh no, it was an attraction for them.
It is,
yes, and it's a landmark. It's something to say, here, I was in Elko. It says so right here on this huge structure that resembles this water tower. And that's why it's significant, because that's where the trains used to roll through downtown. So I don't know if you were living here. Well, you've grown up here, Cathy, so you must have been here when trains were downtown.
Oh, I was.
You were? Because you were just a little girl then.
Getting stuck between both.
Okay, Ralph. All right. I guess I didn't get to you either, but yes. But yeah, so huge transformation. We're talking about the downtown corridor. This is the RDA, the Redevelopment Agency, which is a general improvement district. one thing that is intriguing, Cathy, people have been asking about the tunnels. Did the city have to fill those in, or was that part of the unexpected surprises that you found?
Well, we didn't find any tunnels yet. So, and I use that word yet because we hope that we don't find any. But what we have found is, and we knew of several of them that we were going to discover, were the old coal chutes. You know, in the sidewalk, they had the old delivery coal chutes and such, or delivery for the into the basements for different items, right? So we have discovered several of those. All but one of them were included in the bid, in the plan. So there's only the one that was not. And so they're filling those in as we go. But each one is different, right? So you have to build a structural wall and then do a slurry fill to fill it in with some kind of a structural fill. And then the sidewalk is going over that. There are a few that are remaining in front of Duncan Little Creek. That one will remain. So yeah, there's always these discoveries, right? But they're fun.
They are fun. And, you know, again, the rumors were flowing. Like, I used the word tunnels. People were like, oh, opium dens or bootleggers or, you know, but no, not, Ralph is nodding like, no evidence of that. But you were intrigued too, I could tell, Ralph. Is that true? Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the first thing you want to do is go into the tunnels. But unfortunately, we really haven't.
They were just little delivery chutes or, I mean, they were sizable enough. We saw some photos. I think Jan Peterson was down there, you know. Everybody wants to check it out. So,
Yeah, for sure.
So what we were talking about, the surprises probably were more boring. They had to do with storm drains though, right?
Yeah, we did cross a few other utilities with our storm drain and had, you know, a few things like that, right? So it's all working out. It's a $2.2 million project. Plus, when we add on top of that construction management, testing, surveying, all of that, you know, we're looking at around 2.4 million right now. And we hope that it remains around that and don't have excessive change orders in the next two blocks that we're going to be digging into here real soon.
Real soon. Cathy Laughlin is our Elko City Planner. And something else that the community should be well aware of is that this is money that's already in reserve. It's not bonded. I mean, it's a tax increment that has been set aside.
And it is no additional tax to these redevelopment property owners. And everyone is always confused on that. But this is not any additional tax. This is a tax that the RDA gets a portion of, just like the museum does or ECVA does. The RDA gets a portion of the tax of whatever is an increase after 2008. So everything at 2008 was locked in, and then the RDA only gets a portion of any increase in value since then. Now, when there's new projects, such as the Sandvik building in the redevelopment area, we're excited about that, because that will be an increase to our tax base for the entire district, and that we will see a significant increase in our revenues there. So we do like to see that new development in the redevelopment area, only because then that will help our tax base.
And Cathy, I think it's worth noting too that our city council, despite sometimes pressure, I know bigger cities do it, but we don't defer those taxes, right? We try to make sure everybody has equal responsibility.
Correct. And we don't have impact fees here in Elko on any of the development. So we are very conservative in that manner. And that's why it's so hard to do these redevelopment projects. It takes us years to build up the funds. This $2.2 million, if you recall, we went out to bid in 2024 and we're not able to award the project because we didn't have the funding. So we had to wait another year. Of course, prices went up again, and we were able to fund it this year. So the budget is tight, the funds are tight, and it takes us years to get up enough funds to do the projects. So we look forward to the completion of this one, and I'm sure the business owners will also look forward to the completion of this project, because it will make it just beautiful downtown.
It's going to be a huge difference again. It really already is. I mean, you can just see, visually. And even if you're navigating construction, it's okay. We're getting through it. And some of those businesses, I mean, the yoga studio's one. People are just game to get in there and yeah. So.
And a lot of those businesses have alley access.
That's true.
So they have utilized that, right? And there's a few that don't. But the majority of them have used alley access. So
and there's some beautiful murals too, so it's not so dreary.
For sure.
Yeah, it's nice. Some people are surprised. Say, "Oh, look at this artwork back here." So the one thing too, Cathy, that I think you remember the last time you were in, we did. It's not a secret, but the RDA was experiencing this windfall in tax money, right? And I think you were going to work with the treasurer to find out. Are we still?
We are still receiving additional funds. We believe it's true that there just has been some new assessed valuation into the district. So we're enjoying it, right? This is what funded this project. So
yes. So again, no complaints. The city financial services director, Julie Davis. I mean, she's looking at everybody's looking at everything just to make sure. And this started happening before the city noticed a shortfall. So whatever kind of imbalance there is, it's separate. It sounds to me like in talking to Julie Davis.
Correct.
Yeah, it's just part of the increment that's going in. And as you mentioned, the Sandvik building, that's going to give us more increment. Oh, I know what's also on my list for you, Cathy, is we know the city's working on acquiring that Union Pacific land because that would also enhance the district.
That will be wonderful for the district because right now we do not get property tax off of any of those properties. We're getting personal property tax into the redevelopment area, but not property tax. So if the city is able to acquire that UP property, we would then go in and do a full master plan of the entire area and create it similar to a subdivision, like a residential subdivision, but it will be a commercial industrial type subdivision. And we will create parcels, we will create street development, and lay the whole thing out. And then we would actually have parcels that then we could sell to the owners of the buildings. So yes, then they would be into the redevelopment area, and we would then be able to get some of that tax increment. So it would be a great thing. I think it's a long process, still a long road ahead of us for that. So
yeah, it's been, I think, well, I can recall maybe a couple decades. I don't know if it's been that long, but it seems like it's been a long time, Cathy. But this is what you do. You're excited by this. I could tell she got a light in her eyes.
Very much so.
Master planning that.
Very much so. It would be great.
Wouldn't it? Yeah.
Another thing that the RDA just recently did is we went to the county commission and we filed for a request to purchase the Elko Inn. So the Elko Inn is in default of their property taxes, and once they hit that 3-year default, it goes into the treasurer's trust. And then it's the ownership as the treasurer's trust. So there is a provision in the NRS that allows the trust to sell it directly to a governmental agency without it going to public auction, as long as it has some type of economic development part to it. So the redevelopment agency did appeal to the county commissioners, and they agreed with that, and they are sending out the 90-day notice to the property owner. He will have 90 days to pay his property taxes plus penalties and interest. And if he pays that, then we don't have the opportunity to purchase it. But if he does not pay that within the 90 days, then we do have the opportunity to purchase that for the back taxes. And then it gives the redevelopment agency a lot of opportunity. The redevelopment agency, through the NRS statutes, we have a lot of flexibility. We can put it out for a request for proposals. We can list out stipulations on what the development can or can't be. We can demolish the building and sell the land. There's so many opportunities out there that if that opportunity comes to the redevelopment agency, we'll have quite a few meetings to discuss what we really want to do with that property. But the number one thing would be to eliminate the blight. And eliminating the blight would be put it into owners' hands to do that, right? Have some kind of redevelopment done on the property. And that is our goal.
That's really exciting. A lot of people are looking forward to that, Cathy, because like you said, it's blight right now.
It is.
It was one of the most beautiful properties for so many years, for just decades. We enjoyed that. So, but I'm sure the wheels are churning. You know, if the owner pays, well, then they pay. But it's a substantial amount of money, and if they have let it slide for this long, so who knows if they come up with that kind of cash. Yeah. They were behind in water bills and everything else. And it became a haven for crime. So it's easy to judge that they maybe didn't have the best use in mind, obviously, for that property. So
Right.
So it could, I mean, the city's looking at City Hall, right? That's also part of what Ralph is nodding. You are both working on that too, Cathy?
We are.
Yeah.
We are.
So exciting.
Yeah.
It could be a City Hall site. You just don't know. We don't know. Because I'm sure you'll include the public at some point, right?
Right.
Yes.
For sure.
She's nodding and smiling like, yes, there's so many different ideas and things we could use that property for. So moving on, thank you, Cathy, so much. You can jump back in any time.
I do want to mention one thing.
Please do.
I do have a vacancy on my planning commission right now. And I just wanted to mention that if anyone is interested, the only requirement would be that they live within the city of Elko. And so we are accepting letters until Monday, August 18th at 5 o'clock. And all the information is on our website on elkocity.com, or they can email planning@elkocitynv.gov. And all we are looking for is a letter of interest. And it's a great opportunity to give back to your community, is serve on that planning commission.
And from everything I've observed, it could be a launch pad for a future political career. Some of our
it sure could.
Yeah, our elected officials have come from there. And it's also kind of like getting a master's degree. I mean, you get so much information. You learn so much sitting on that panel, I could imagine.
I think you do, right?
Mm-hmm. And you work with professionals. And that's I guess, too, I said that was the last thing, but we do know that the LDS temple's getting ready to open. The golf course net was an issue. Cathy, something that I think both you and Ralph were charged with looking at. Is there any progress to give on that?
We have received an appeal on that. It will be on the August 26th City Council meeting under public hearing format, so that will be at 5:30. We also had a second item on that same Planning Commission agenda that also appealed for a variance. So that will be on this upcoming City Council meeting on the 12th. So, that is an opportunity for applicants. If they're not happy with the outcome of the Planning Commission, they can appeal that to City Council. And City Council has to have some type of new evidence or new testimony provided to them that was not given to the Planning Commission. So it's kind of a different type of hearing, and they will consider the Planning Commissioner's input. They will consider their meeting minutes. My position is I have to represent what the Planning Commission did. So I have to represent their opinion and what their comments that they made, and address that to the City Council. So yeah, we do have 2 appeals from Planning Commission that are going to City Council.
I'll have to research the other one. The golf net thing was sort of the most exciting one of the evening. And Cathy, I think it's also fair to point out that the city staff, the city planner, I think that you gave some great leeway in that application for the CUP. I think the planning commissioners had a lot that they could have done instead of rejecting it outright. I mean, I think, and that's just, my observation from doing this for so many years, but I mean, the net could have been anywhere from 25 up to, what was it, the 140?
140 with
140,
the
yes.
grade elevation difference.
And the 140 was the most egregious, but there really wasn't any discussion by the Planning Commission of doing something less than that. And
there were a few commissioners that said, can you phase this? What are your other options? And we've had multiple meetings with the temple since then, and now they have some options. And that was the discussion that we had with them in a meeting last week. As I said, that is exactly what my planning commission was asking you, is what are the other options? And at that time, in that planning commission meeting, the representatives that they had there at that meeting, they just said, there is no other options.
They just wanted the 147.
This is the net, and this is what we're presenting. This is what we want, and we're not requesting anything other than this. And so the planning commissioners, I think that they did a good job at asking some very good questions. Yes, there could have been some things, but there always can be. But I felt like the applicant wasn't having any leeway either in let's go ahead and table this, let's bring back another option, or let's sit down and bring back the proper consultant to this meeting, which they will now be coming to the city council with more background.
Oh, good. So could end up being a compromise after all.
It could be, yes.
Well, Cathy, you do a very good job, and it's a very tough position, and that's what I remember from someone, that was on the planning commission before, is you're almost always making someone unhappy. So, yeah, hopefully the goal is to make everybody happy, but yes.
Yeah, possible.
Not possible in those decisions. Cathy Laughlin is our Elko City Planner, and you've been at this for a while, Cathy. I don't know what we would do, honestly, so thank you. Yes. There's still the entire West Main Street district to be planned, so hang in there, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Got to get that property from Union Pacific. So, Ralph, you get to follow all that up. I know.
That's a hard one.
But that's great to have colleagues that inspire you. Obviously, a team of professional people, and just to have some of the history that you have, that Cathy has, obviously in the community, because it, like she said, when you come from out of town and want to do something, it can really kind of gum up the works. So
it can, yeah. And just sitting here today, I learned a lot. So
well, there you go. So
she said some things. I was like, okay, interesting. Yeah,
and that's why she is the city planner.
Exactly.
So.
Yep.
So you brought a couple of things to your list today. We did want to get an update on the 12th Street Bridge, right?
Yeah. So that project is now complete. I think it went smoother than expected. We were really concerned that we were going to have a lot of traffic backup and a lot of congestion and all that. And I think doing the work at night really eliminated a lot of that. So it's done, it's over with, and we can move on. So it's just, sometimes you have to dirty some things to get it cleaned up and make it look pretty again. Yeah, you're right. It just seemed to go pretty smoothly. Maybe more of that nighttime work is in the cards. It certainly didn't seem to disrupt much. Mm-hmm. We did get an inquiry. We were starting to talk about it just to make sure we had some talking points in the VA cemetery. It's raised to the level of a senator. Nevada Senator Catherine Cortez Masto said she's been asking Sam Brown. He is in charge of this project at the national level. But we wanted to know what we know from the city level about our VA cemetery. Ralph's thinking about this. What's the best way to put it? This is kind of a little bit of a tough one. I will say that the contractors that are on site, they've had a little bit of turnover with their superintendents. So right now, I think we're on our third one. And I think things have been delayed a little bit because of that. Even though we had kind of a mild winter, it seems that they had started a little bit later than anticipated. They're scheduled right now tentatively to be finished just with the grave sites and everything around November. The landscaping won't happen until next year. I was in touch with their GC, which is their main general manager for the contract company, and hopefully I get to meet him this week just to follow up and get some more insight on what's happening there, and hopefully have a better schedule. So it's been trying. Well, and I think that anytime you elevate something and it's political, it becomes more painful. And what I sense the general concern is that there wouldn't be money for the project, but I'm not hearing that from you. That's not something I'm hearing. Okay. But then again, I'm not able to have that conversation with the general contractor at this time. So that's something that I'm hoping to know more this week. He's supposed to be in town, so I'm hoping I can catch up with him.
Good. But again, the basic infrastructure, concrete, I think the roads are in or supposed to be in by the end of summer.
The roads are in.
Great.
Yeah, so that has been accomplished. They still have fencing to do. They still have a lot of grading to do. There's a lot that needs to happen. So their commitment basically was November, but we'll see.
Okay. And as you said, being on the third contractor, I mean, Cathy's not any project that you have with a turnover like that. That's really tough. We have other VA projects in the community. We want to see of course, that is a private development. That's Gary Pinkston's project. And we hope that that's going to be ready to open soon. It looks great from the outside, but I know they need to staff that. That's a new VA clinic, an expanded clinic. It looks, like I said, beautiful, but people just get nervous with the climate we're in right now. Are we going to get these projects?
Well, we hope so, right?
Yes,
so
definitely.
That's what we're always working for, is trying to bring new company, industry, housing. That's what we want, right? Mm-hmm. We want to overall bring new clientele into town.
Talking with Ralph Negron, and he is our city development manager, and obviously some of the other projects that you're working on. We have news on some new subdivisions because we hear a lot about affordable housing. In fact, I should have brought that study to see if you could help me extrapolate some information. UNR did a study, the Extension Service, and they talked about affordable cities throughout the state and whether or not we have affordable housing here in Elko. And I actually couldn't figure out from the report, from the statistics, whether we do or not, Ralph.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right now, Bailey's up there off Opinion Road. It's off of Daisy. They're putting a nice little subdivision. That's going to be affordable housing. I'm going to say 300-ish range.
Right. Okay.
I guess I don't know what affordable is considered nowadays. I mean, and that's something we need to kind of look into and dig deeper on. But they've got a really nice subdivision happening back there. Nice yards, very nice homes, a little bit more bang for your buck. We do have, that little bit higher end. We have Bergeron Village, just right up here, and they're building some nice houses, more on the higher end, you could say. And then we also have a couple developments on 5th Street. So we have Konania building Mountain View townhomes, and then also Copper Trails. So,
okay. And is Copper Trails, are those apartments?
Those are homes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the lots are pretty small. So basically, 0 lot line is going to be a little bit more tighter, but it's considered probably still high 300s to mid 400s.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the goal is, when new housing is built, if it's not quite in the price range of a starter home, then I guess the goal is that people may vacate the older homes and leave those.
That's kind of the idea, right? Is you have people that you're going to upgrade. So you have those that are in the tree streets or whatever, and they want to get something a little bit bigger, a little bit nicer, so they upgrade themselves. But then you have a new family going into the older homes, and it's just a circulation. It's just a pattern, and I think that's every town, every city. We want to make it a little bit better and have bigger houses, better houses,
and hopefully with the water meter installation, I think our neighborhood's nervous about that because it's a tree streets, and I think the city's going to, talking to Dale, will probably be toward the end because there's bound to be challenges in these really old parts of town.
Yeah.
Right, Ralph?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think they've, a lot of residents they've never had a water meter prior, and it's kind of a reality check because now you're going to be more conscientious about using the water you're doing right now, watering your lawns, doing your dishes, running toilets, running sinks. That's
leaky
just
stuff.
Leaky stuff. It just adds up. And so one is maintenance, and be really cautious of what you're doing. Because if you're going to continue the same path that you were before that water meter, you're going to get a water bill, and it's going to be it'll be eye opener.
Yeah. But do work with the city, because we have been talking with, it's not Dale's crew anymore.
No.
Yeah.
It's Jim's crew.
It's Jim. Thank you, Jim Kerr, right?
Yep.
And it's Jim's crew now. And so the reality is that there will be leaks, but you don't panic. You call the city, and then between the city and hopefully your plumber, you'll figure out, or if you have irrigation, where it might be. So.
Yep.
Yes. Well, anything else on your list before we get ready to close out today?
The only other thing we have is code enforcement. So we were able to get a new ordinance approved by City Council, And we have a new code enforcement officer. He is from California. That's what he's done his whole career. And so basically, everything is passed through and been approved by city council. So if we come across nuisances, basically it's a 3 notification type of a deal. He'll get a warning, then a notification, and the third one could be a possible fine. So any type of nuisances, this would have been perfect for the Elko Inn. You know, we could have really, I think it would have moved him along and hit him in the pocketbook a little bit to make him do things a little quicker, right? And it's not to attack anybody. This is just regular code enforcement. Every city has it. Every town has it. But it's also to help maintain and keep our Elko clean.
Oh, yeah. Clean and, hazard free.
Absolutely.
And there are all kinds of reasons. People work hard on their homes and their property. And then, like me, I went a couple weeks without mowing the lawn. I was like, I'm so embarrassed, but I'm just too busy. I'm so sorry. Yes, I need a neighborhood boy. I'm waiting for the one next door to grow up. But yes, no, mowing the lawn is not as serious as having abandoned vehicles and trash and weeds growing. I mean, there are a lot of serious considerations.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, yes. I happen to live on one of the prettiest streets in Elko. So
well, there you go. You're lucky.
Well, yeah, like I said, if I can keep up with the Joneses, that'd be awesome. Ralph, thank you so much for being on the program and for what you're doing for the city. Ralph is our development manager. Cathy, again, expressed, appreciation for you. And you guys could come on once a week, honestly, because of all the work that's going on. I can already see another half an hour shaping up. So I hope you'll come back.
Sure.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
We appreciate it. From the City of Elko, our planner and our development manager here on Elko Live today. Thank you, listeners, for joining us here on KELK.